Zelos Podcast is sponsored by Kinetic IQ, where intelligence meets motion. Kinetic IQ brings a biomechanics lab into the palm of your hand, letting you measure movement anytime, anywhere, with just an iPad or an iPhone, and no wearables required. I've been using Kinetic IQ's markerless motion capture in my own practice, and whether you're screening athletes, analyzing posture and gait mechanics, optimizing performance, or guiding return to play, it helps practitioners like us save time, capture more objective data, and make instant actionable decisions. So to learn more about how Kinetic IQ is shaping the future of intelligent movement, visit them at kinetikiq.com. That's KINETIKIQ.com. You know, I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have Metabolic Elite be one of the sponsors of the Zelos Podcast. You know what makes Metabolic Elite different is their commitment to real results. I've seen a lot of supplements and performance enhancement things over the years, but they pair clinical experience with innovation, like Lipitab, their proprietary solid-state liposomal delivery system. It's a chewable format which enhances absorption, like nutrients like BPC 157 and synapses. They're delivered more efficiently in the body, supporting recovery, focus, cognitive health. Their formulas go beyond the basics, solving performance health challenges at the system level. Every product is tested for quality, it's backed by research, and trusted by athletes and clinicians alike. So learn more at metabolicelite.co. And you can get 10% off all of Metabolic Elite products by entering the coupon code ZELOS, Z-E-L-O-S. Welcome to another episode of the Zelos Podcast, the show that's all about the pros behind the pros in sports. I'm your host, Rocky Snyder. This week, Cherie Calbom, nutritionist and founder of the Trinity Wellness Institute, author of several books, including The Truth About Seed Oils, is my guest. Now, before we get underway, we've got a few events coming up this summer that you want to put on your calendar. To start off, in just a couple of weeks, we've got the Perform Better 3-day Functional Training Summit kicking off in Chicago, June 18th to the 20th. If you can't make that one, don't worry. There's one on the West Coast in Long Beach, California, July 9th and 11th. I am honored to be presenting at both of those venues. And there is a third one near the end of August in Providence, Rhode Island. That's August 20th to the 22nd. Now, also in July is the 2026 National Conference for the National Strength Conditioning Association, otherwise known as the NSCA. That's going to be in New Orleans, July 8th to the 11th. Hope to see you there too. Remember, you can go to my website, rockysnyder.com, to check out podcast archives, all the guests we've had. We're coming up on like 300 episodes pretty soon, and so you've got plenty to choose from back there. We've got weekly blogs, and there's products and online consulting, mentorship, and also online courses, including exploring foot wedges, which is about 3 hours long, but then I've got shorter ones, posture-based soft tissue mobilization, all about individual structure and where you want to roll out or massage. We've also got open and closed chain foot mobilization. So if you want to know how to open up the foot for better behavior, you can go to that one. Plus I've got a free one all about how to use foot wedges. And one that's going to be coming out real soon is ACL resiliency. So check that out. Be sure to go on to Instagram if you're not following us already at Rocky_Snyder. Click the subscribe button and enjoy the conversation. Cherie, first of all, thank you for coming on the Zelos Podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to talk about seed oils.
Yeah, there's so many things I want to talk about because honestly, I feel like in some ways we're in parallel industries where there's so much information at everyone's disposal these days, and there's so many fads, but there's so many things that stand the test of time as well. So whether it's in exercise, strength, conditioning, and performance, or if it's in diet and nutrition. So first of all, how about giving the listening audience a little bit of background about how long you got your master's and how long you've been a nutritionist and so on?
It all started, well, before I got my master's, it started with not being well. I had chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, and I was really too sick to work. I was in my 20s, had to move back home and sleep. And with those conditions, you want to sleep a lot of hours, excuse me, and wake up tired, ache all over, felt like I had the flu all the time, and no hope from doctors as to what I could do to get well. So I went to some health food stores and talked to people there and found out, wow, my diet's all wrong. It's really bad. I like junk food and fast food, and I hated vegetables, and I was a sugaraholic. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to. No, nobody else is giving me any hope, so I'm gonna have to change my diet and give this a try. So I went on my 5 day juice fast on day 5, and it was vegetable juice fast. My body expelled a tumor the size of a golf ball with blue blood vessels attached that looked like somebody cut them, about 4 or 5 of them. And somebody had nature scissors or God scissors, you might call it, the phytonutrients like fisetin and luteolin, and they had halted that angiogenesis, the growth of blood vessels to that tumor. And so I thought, wow, that is pretty amazing. I'm going to be well tomorrow. And I wasn't. I was on a journey. And most people who make changes in their diet are on a journey. And I always encourage everybody stick with it because you know you're doing the right thing when you're eating whole foods and lots of vegetables. Don't give up. One day, 3 months later, with adding in food, I kept juicing and smoothies and I added in food and lots of vegetables and ancient grains and legumes and so forth. I woke up and thought, wow, somebody gave me a new body last night. I felt like $1 million. And it was that my body was building and changing and detoxing and working toward that all along. But it was just one day, it was like very apparent that I felt really well. And I was so amazed at what this did for me. I thought, I'm going back to school. I'm going to get a graduate degree in nutrition and be a credible source of information to help other people find out what changes in their diet can do for them as well.
Wow. Well, I can recall about 30 years ago, one of my former business partners, she began what was called the Master Cleanse, and she was having this kind of green powder called Chompers, and it was
Mhm.
a 30-day kind of process. And the feedback that she gave through that whole process was quite amazing. I guess just side note on that, but what what intrigued you, or how did you first kind of learn? If you're being a sugar fiend and didn't like vegetables, it wasn't like you were in the nutrition section of the library at the time. It's like, how did that come about for your lifestyle at that time to completely turn on to what you've been doing?
Well, I started not only talking with people at a health food store or some of them different stores, but there were a few books then. There wasn't a whole lot. We have so much.
No.
Oh, it's just amazing, what we've got now. But there were a few books. And I started buying everything I could get my hands on and reading and reading and reading. And I read about juicing, I read about diet changes, and it gave me hope. When nobody gives you hope, in the medical profession, you're looking for anything out there that will give you hope. And I thought, I'm young. My whole life is ahead. I can't live like this. And so, yeah, that's why I wrote my first book, Juicing for Life, that sold over 2 million copies. There was no book on juicing with recipes at the time. There was an old Norman Walker book from the 30s, and he didn't have any recipes. It had numbers like 1 to 29 or something, and just listed the vegetables for all these different conditions. And you had to try and figure out how to put them together and make them taste good. And a lot of stuff I made didn't taste good, and I had to experiment. And I thought people need recipes and they need some science behind it. So I had just gone back to school to get my master's in nutrition, and the Juice Man Company came to my university my second year and looking for a graduate student to write the little booklet that went in the juicer. And the head of my department asked me if I was interested. Student, you'll take anything. Yeah, $10 an hour. Sign me up. And I started learning more about juicing. And that's when they said there's a need for a book. And so I went to the libraries at the University of Washington, down in the tunnels, and started looking for anything, in the way of foods, nutrition, supplements that would help those conditions. And that's how our 50 ailment book on juicing for life was born. It's all based on science and then converted into the recipes that help those conditions. And it sold over 2 million copies.
Phenomenal. So Uh, for me, I have been using a juicer intermittently. I can't say that I use it every day, but I have used it for several years, and I go in cycles. I will say that. But I've got my Jack LaLanne juicer,
Uh,
and I'm sure there's the Vitamix, and there's so many others. But I do love it. The one thing that can get in the way is the cleanup that's involved afterwards. So I just got to get around that. Is that it? Basically, is that what you would tell me? It's like, well, it's just part of the process.
yes. Well, or also you might want to consider someday the Nama J2. It juices for you. So it's got two chambers and you put your produce in the top chamber, turn it on, walk away and do other things and it juices for you. And the cleanup's pretty easy, about a minute. So maybe someday you
Oh,
want to
okay, good
invest
to
in
know.
Nama J2. Use my code Juice Lady and you get a big discount.
Well, thank you for that. All right, I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, for the beginners, the neophytes that aren't familiar with the benefits of juicing, can you give us the Juice 101 synopsis?
I love Juicing 101 because there are so many questions that people have. So make it simple. Get a good recipe, a good base, first of all, like carrot apple or carrot apple ginger or lemonade, lemon and apple. And then to that, you can add other things greens, celery, cucumber, zucchini, chard, collard greens, kale, whatever. You want to not add all of that at once, but you can add a few leaves of different things and just find a recipe that you like, that you enjoy, or several things and change it up and give it a try. It's broken down so well. This is why I recommend juicing. It is what I call a vitamin, mineral, enzyme, phytonutrient, biophoton, antioxidant cocktail. It's like taking a one a day that is all broken down with all the phytonutrients and the extras that you don't get in any pill. And it is life changing. I always say a glass of juice a day could change your life because it has for a lot of people.
Oh, fabulous. And now you have delved into the world of sports. You've had professional athletes that well, we don't have to name names, obviously, but what kind of outcomes have you seen with the athletes that you've been working with?
Oh, changes in health, more energy. Um, And well, I just want to point to one team and it's the Tennessee Titans have gone seed oil free. And the coach said they made the decision for better performance and better recovery time. So I have seen that with athletes and increasing the fiber, increasing the vegetables, you're going to increase your nutrients. If your digestion improves with a high fiber diet, higher fiber maybe than what you were getting, you're going to glean more nutrients from what you're eating because you're going to digest it, process it better. So I've seen energy and recovery, especially, and cutting down on the inflammation. So with athletes, there's always injuries and inflammation, and you want to bring that inflammation down as fast and as well as you possibly can. That's where your vegetables come in, and things like ginger and turmeric, and I juice those a lot. The roots are known in studies, lots of studies, to be anti-inflammatory. So I include those, and I'm not an athlete, nor is my husband, but I do Pilates, and occasionally I have sore muscles. But I know that ginger and turmeric are very, very helpful to include in all of the juices.
So, okay, let's dive into the seed oils then. As I see, there's the cover of your book back there, "The Truth About Seed Oils." What is the truth about seed oils?
My latest book, number 36.
Wow.
So we all of us have grown up on seed oils, and we were told that they were heart healthy, modern, the best oils for you. Go with these new modern industrial oils, and they are going to benefit your health. And they have done the opposite. So I've got a whole chapter on the science behind what these oils are linked to. Everything from heart disease, cancer, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, obesity, fatigue. Of course, inflammation is right there at the top because they're very, very inflammatory. Emotional issues like depression and anxiety, and even aggression, brain issues, Alzheimer's and dementia, skin issues like acne, eczema, and psoriasis. On it goes with these oils. And why are we still consuming them? Because they're popular, they're cheap, and manufacturers are putting them in everything just about. Snack foods and baked goods, and the restaurants are using them, and the fast food chains love them for deep fat frying foods. And so they're all around us. And I call them the silent killers because we don't know they're there. We don't taste them. They don't have an odor. They don't have a flavor. And they don't have a color. They're just like golden. So we don't even know they're in a lot of the foods we're eating. But they're silently destroying our health.
So, which ones are the top culprits? Or obviously, I guess, are you saying they all are?
No, I'm going to name the worst, and then I'll give you the good oils. But right at the top of the worst is canola, which is rapeseed. It's a big GMO crop. And so you've got a double whammy. Not only have you processed seed oils, but you've got genetically modified organism, which is linked to cancer in itself. And then soy and corn also, very popular oils to use in fast food restaurants and in packaged foods. And those are two other big GMO crops. But then there's also grapeseed oil, and for a long time we were told that that was very heart healthy, and it's not. Safflower and sunflower, rice bran, peanut oil, and cottonseed oil. Those are the toxic industrial seed oils. If they were processed differently, some of them, like safflower and sunflower, would probably be okay. But most of them are processed in the wrong way and creating toxic byproducts. Conversely, the good ones, everybody wants to know, what can I have, right? You can take this away from me. What can I have? Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, sesame seed oil, and ghee, which some people call oil of butter. Those are your good ones. They're everywhere. You can find them at big box stores now. So we have lots of choices, and more manufacturers are now getting the message because the word is getting out. Seed oils are not good for you. So they're getting on board, and you can now find bagged popcorn with olive oil, chips with olive oil or avocado oil, and crackers, same thing, and avocado oil mayonnaise, and dips and dressings, and on it goes. But we're getting better and better choices. So it's encouraging in many ways. People are voting with their dollars. They're seeing these products come out on the market and they're grabbing those rather than one with seed oil. And this is how we're going to change things in our country, by voting with our wallet.
Okay, I think I'm scoring maybe an A minus when I'm thinking about my kitchen because we use avocado oil, olive oil, extra virgin, uh, and we've got sesame seed oil, and we do have ghee in the refrigerator. But the one thing I do have also that brings my score down is grapeseed oil because I was under that impression that grapeseed oil was actually one of the better ones. So why am I wrong? What is it about grapeseed oil?
Well, it's how it's processed, first of all, and then I'll go to point two. But
Sure.
it's with the rest of them how the processing takes place. First of all, these seeds start with high heat, like about 500 degrees, and then with chemicals like hexane, which is very, very toxic, poured in to extract the last little bit of oil, and then deodorizers, neutralizers, bleaching agents, maybe some degumming agents in there. On it goes, lots and lots of chemicals to create an oil that looks good and doesn't have an odor that can roll out into plastic bottles or whatever and be sold to you. So grapeseed is in that category of usually processed like that. But it is also a polyunsaturated fatty acid, as are all the other oils I named. And what does that mean regarding inflammation? Polyunsaturates are the highest is linoleic acid and is a very high omega 6 rich fatty acid. And yes, we need omega 6s. And that's the argument on the other side. Hey, we need omega 6s. They are essential for health. And that is true. We do. But most people are getting way too much omega 6 to omega 3 fatty acids, like way out of proportion. 20 to 1 is oftentimes the ratio of what people are getting. And it should be more like a 4 to 1 to 1 to 1 omega 6 to omega 3 fatty acids. What does that do in the body? It creates inflammation. At the core, at the root of every condition we could name is inflammation. And many of the conditions that we would name, it's chronic low grade inflammation. I call it the inner smoldering fire.
Mm, okay. So let's go to the more desirable oils, avocado and olive. How is it that their process that's different from the seed oils?
So those are more traditional ways. So olive oil, extra virgin would be a cold process or press method. And that's the first press is extra virgin olive oil. Some of the oils are expeller pressed, meaning low heat, but not the high heat like the other oils, and not all the chemicals. And same with avocado oil, coconut oil, more traditional way of making coconut oil that's been around probably for centuries. People made it the old fashioned way. They do cook it, but it doesn't get to high heat temperatures like the other oils, and it doesn't have all the chemicals in it. Sesame seed oil seems to have escaped all of this high processing, probably because people don't use a lot of it. Most of us use it in certain recipes, like if we want an Asian flavor or something along that line. So it's smaller amounts, and it so far isn't, the big vats of seeds and chemicals. And ghee, same thing, clarified butter, oil of butter, more traditional processing. So really, it has a lot to do with how things are processed to start off with.
And do you find that you'll use these oils within the juices, or do you keep them separate?
I haven't, well, I do make one juice in the morning. It's my liver gallbladder cleanse shake. And I have several things in the morning, but I do lemon and lime juice in my juicer. I pour it in my Vitamix. I add several cloves of garlic. I add a couple tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. This is for my husband and I, and some water, about a cup of water, and some ice cubes. You can also add a splash of orange juice if you want it a little sweeter, but I blend it all up, and that is our liver gallbladder cleanse shake. And so I do have some olive oil every day in that.
Fantastic. Okay, you've been doing this for over 30 years now, and with that time, nutrition trends come and go, and yet you've remained relevant. So, what fundamental principles of health do you feel have stood the test of time?
Whole foods. My degree is in nutrition, in whole foods nutrition. Whole foods stand the test of time. They're ancestral, they're ancient. We've always had whole vegetables, whole grains, ancient grains, legumes, which are beans, lentils, split peas, seeds, and nuts, and clean animal protein if you're not vegan. And that means not grown with all the antibiotics, hormones, and other chemicals. So that never has gone out of fashion. But juicing, since it came on the scene in the 90s, just really has not gone out of fashion either. And that's because people notice a difference when they start juicing, especially lots of vegetables, which a lot of us probably wouldn't eat what we need to if it wasn't for juicing. They feel,
Truly.
you know.
I totally know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't, I would fall into that category. I don't think I could eat enough. Juicing makes it so much easier. So you've worked with everyone from everyday people to celebrities, professional athletes. What do you think separates those who have successfully transformed their health for those who kind of struggle to make lasting changes? What are there some elements that you've noticed over the years?
Willpower. First of all, those that say, I'm going to do this and no matter what, I am going to do this. To those who struggle and lots of people struggle, and we all struggle from time to time. It's like, yeah, I want my cravings, I want this, but those that make it and really make the change are those that have that strong willpower and determination that I'm doing this, come what may. I am going to make these changes and stick with it as best I can, as much as I possibly can. And the real champions are the ones that fall down and get back up again. Say, yeah, I messed up. I shouldn't have eaten that. I don't feel so good now. I'm not so well, but I'm going to get back on track and go for it again tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day and I'm going for it. Those are the people that I've seen make real changes.
So the kind of the biggest buy-in, I guess you'd say, is just how they feel from taking this approach. Would that be accurate?
Yes. And that's kind of deceiving at times, isn't it? Because we don't always feel like something really big is happening. And so that's when it gets a little discouraging. And you have to say, I'm trusting this process. But many people do feel different, and they feel different right away or soon into the program, especially with juicing. I've had so many people tell me, brain fog left, energy, more energy, joint pain going away, minimizing, all sorts of health conditions improving. Of course, you have to do the rest. You can't just say, I'm going to drink a glass of juice and then eat a bunch of junk and expect to feel well. No, or be well. But it is very encouraging to people to start a program and maybe have their blood tested, and you've got markers now. You know where you stand. And I've had people like with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and have gotten on maybe the juice program. Juicing a lot of celery addresses all of those things I just named. Go back and have a blood test 30 days later and go, oh my gosh, all my markers have come down. Or people who have been tested for their omega 6 to omega 3 fatty acid ratios, because a lot of integrated medicine clinics are doing that right now, and found their omega 6s were way too high, like maybe 20 to 1, and then went on a program and went back several months later and they're way down. I just talked to somebody a couple of days ago and she was 20 to 1 and thought, okay, I'm getting rid of as much of the seed oils as I can. Went back and she was 1 to 1. I was like, wow, that was amazing.
Oh. We're just going to take a quick pause from this conversation to acknowledge our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. The Zelos Podcast is sponsored by Kinetic IQ, where intelligence meets motion. Kinetic IQ brings a biomechanics lab into the palm of your hand, letting you measure movement anytime, anywhere with just an iPad or iPhone. No wearables required. I've been using Kinetic IQ in my own practice, and whether you're screening athletes, optimizing performance, or guiding return to play, it helps practitioners like us save time, capture more objective data, and make instant actionable decisions. So to learn more about how Kinetic IQ is shaping the future of intelligent movement, visit kinetikiq.com. That's KINETIKIQ.com. At the forefront of metabolic elite is Jim Lavelle, internationally recognized clinical pharmacist, a chief science officer at Lifetime, and the co-chair for the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. He's got over 4 decades of experience and has guided Olympic athletes, professional teams, and leading health institutions. You know what makes Metabolic Elite different is their commitment to real results. Like Lipitab, their proprietary solid-state liposomal delivery system. It's a chewable format which enhances absorption like nutrients like BPC 157 and synapses. They're delivered more efficiently in the body, supporting recovery, focus, cognitive health. Their formulas go beyond the basics, solving performance health challenges at the system level. Every product is tested for quality, it's backed by research, it's trusted by athletes and clinicians alike. And you can get 10% off all of Metabolic Elite products by entering the coupon code ZELOS, ZELOS. Do you work with anyone in the medical field, like doctors? Because when we look back at their their schooling in medical school will find that in my case, in terms of like biomechanics and movement, the average doctor spends about 30 to 45 days in classroom learning about biomechanics out of 6 years of medical school. And I'm going to venture a guess that the time they spend on nutrition is actually even less than that. So, so do you work with doctors? Do you do any kind of educating or collaborating?
I wish. I haven't found any. Well, there are a few doctors out there that have made their way in the nutrition field, and they're more integrative medical doctors, and they're doing well, very, very well. But as far as just doctors coming and saying, "Gee, I'd like to learn from you or work with you," I haven't found that. But I have a couple that are always picking my brain when I go to see them personally for myself because they're more integrative in their approach to health and testing and all of that. But doctors don't get hardly any education. I think it's still true. Maybe one class, kind of a 101. You sort of learn nothing in a 101. I think back of I didn't learn much in a 101 class, but they don't get much education. So they pretty much have to go off on their own and do their own research.
Yeah. Well, there are a few out there, fortunately, but not as
Mhm.
many perhaps as we would appreciate. Let's go to the inflammation and detoxification, if you don't mind, because when we detox, when we get toxins out of our system, get the pollutants out, it's not a happy, joyous, free transformation right away. There's got to be the the purging. So on average, do you typically tell people, hey, when we're going to go through this detox program, here are some things you can expect, and they're not going to be all rainbows and sunshine, so to speak? Or how do you do that? How do you kind of walk somebody through it?
I do. I have classes. I'm going to have one coming up this summer, the 30-day detox. So I have Zoom classes once a week and walk people through what to expect. They call it the cleanse reaction, or some people call it the Herxheimer reaction, where you do get symptoms, maybe headache, more tired, you need more sleep, maybe you kind of feel flu type symptoms, things like that. And so people can, you know, always email me and ask me, but I try to prepare them in advance that you may experience some of this. It's not a bad thing. Drink more water, flush, 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 get this stuff out of your system as fast as you can. But yes, as you cleanse, toxins do come out of their hiding places, and they hide all throughout our body, like the liver and fat cells and between in tissue spaces. They're throughout our body. And it's so important to get rid of them because they wreak havoc and they are contributors to disease and to just a gradual decline of year after year. People say, I'm a little more tired this year. I don't want to bounce back from that cold like I used to. Well, we want to avoid that. We want to change things around. And it's amazing how you can feel and look and the energy you have once you do detox your body and those organs of elimination. I liken it to a car. What if we never changed the oil filter or the oil in our car? We'd be in bad shape, right? I did that once. My first little VW. I missed the lesson. I didn't change the oil. My car died on the California freeway. It was horrible. But we know better. We all know better. And our liver is like the oil filter in our car. We've got to cleanse it once in a while, or it's just going to get all clogged up.
And so there's different types of cleanses that target different areas, just like your juice recipes will do the same, as you were referring to earlier. Can you give me the hierarchy when it comes to what should we try and detox first compared to bottom of the list?
Yes, so it's always good if you can to detox the intestinal tract because that's your elimination area. And if that's clogged up, not working well, you probably won't eliminate as well as you could. And when you get to week two, which in my program is liver, gallbladder, you're not going to be eliminating very efficiently. And then week three, well, and in week two, if you so choose, you can do parasite cleansing as well. When you're cleansing the liver, great time to also do parasite cleansing. And week three is kidney and bladder and lungs. Week four, lymphatic system and skin and blood. Boy, by the time you get done with week four, you've been through the entire body, the organs and systems of elimination, and people are feeling pretty good. But along the way, some people notice, well, I don't feel as well. So it's like, okay, you got to get this stuff out of your system as fast as you can so you'll feel better.
And so during these detox sessions, whole food comes in the form of juice and not solid, or
No, juice and solid food. The first
okay.
3 days, I give people an option. You can kick it off with a 3-day juice fast, but you don't have to. Some people just can't muster up that kind of program that, they have more demanding jobs or whatever, so they can't do a 3-day juice fast. Most people can do a 1 day if you take a dinner on a Friday night and a breakfast and lunch on a Saturday. That's pretty doable. You get in 24 hours almost because you eat dinner and you've gone about 24 hours. But in my program, I have solid foods, definitely. Lots of salads, soups. Like I have a lymph detox soup. I have a beet soup and beet juice and beet salad and carrot salad in the liver cleanse week that are additions. But yes, you can eat real solid food, just all whole foods and mostly vegan the first couple of weeks.
And does shelf life matter? Meaning that if I were to create the recipe, I need to eat it in the next hour, or I mean, is it something that I could do some meal planning around and have it be organized for several days or for the entire week?
You can. And lots of people have to do that because of their jobs. They're just too busy to make juice every day or do all these things every day. You can freeze your juices. Most juices, if you have a cold press juicer, will last 48 hours in the fridge. If you're wanting to make your juices for more days than that, you can freeze others. Freeze them in glass jars is always the best. And for the beet salad and carrot salad, I've had that in the fridge. And I make that, by the way, with the pulp from juicing beets and juicing carrots. And then you just take the one, you do them one at a time, and you take the pulp out of the pulp catcher and make your salad with lemon juice and olive oil. I love to add some cinnamon to that. I just think it's a great combination for those salads. But that's part of your liver cleanse and your beet soup. You can make a big, huge batch of that, and you've got it for several days. But beets are very cleansing for the liver. You can also do a liver beet juice challenge where you drink 1 ounce of beet juice each day for your first week. You need drink 2 ounces of beet juice each day for week two, 3 ounces per day, week three, 4 ounces per day, week four, and that is your beet juice liver cleanse challenge. That's a simple one.
Okay. Now, here on the Central Coast, we have several places where I can go and order juice freshly pressed. What, as a consumer, should I be looking for or concerned about?
Do they use organic produce? Because I believe that's very, very important, especially when you're having concentrated juices like that. We don't want pesticides. Lots of places like that do a lot of fruit. And I don't recommend a lot of fruit juice for most people. It's too much sugar. So a little bit of fruit to flavor a big vegetable juice combo is ideal. Some of the juice bars will custom make your juice. Like if you say, I want 80-20, mostly, 80% vegetables, 20% fruit, that's a good rule, the 80-20 rule. Some people have to go more 90-10. They're very sugar sensitive, but some juice bars will custom for you. I think more and more are getting to that place where they'll custom a juice for you.
And I'm kind of living in a bubble here in Santa Cruz because there's so much organic produce here. We live on the edge of the salad bowl of the world, as it's called, in the Central Valley. And with that, just organic fruits and vegetables are quite easy to find here. But some other places within the US, you have to kind of work a little bit harder to find it. So here's the question. When it comes to like frozen produce, does that is that okay? I mean, obviously you want something very fresh, but what about those people that aren't in areas, we'll say maybe South Dakota, northern Minneapolis, especially in the winter times? Like, what is the solution to places that don't have prevalent produce like I do?
That is a very good question. And we have prevalent produce in Scottsdale where I am too. Not like you, though. I'm not in the salad bowl, but we always have it. But yes, people have told me all across the US, small towns, the South, and the areas you named, they don't always have access to fresh organic produce. They have done studies on frozen vegetables and fruit and found that the nutrients were well preserved. A lot was not lost in freezing. And the take on that was probably they freeze it soon after it's been picked, sooner than even what we get sitting on a grocery store shelf. So definitely you can go for frozen produce. And that's better than canned. We don't want canned for sure. But many people have to do that, and that's fine.
Okay, good to hear. All right. Now is probably a good time to throw a few rapid fire questions at you. I've thoroughly been enjoying this conversation, but now is the time to kind of put you a little bit on the hot seat, but we'll call it the warm seat if that's okay. Are you up for it?
I'm up for it. We'll give it a try.
Okay, here we go. Juicing or smoothies?
Oh, that's the question. That's been
That's
the
it.
question for decades. Everybody asks that question. They're both great, and I do both. But juicing has its place. I never say it's one or the other. Juicing is broken down so well that those vitamins, minerals, enzymes, biophotons, all of that stuff is going to get into your system faster than even with a smoothie. So that's why I love juicing, but I also love smoothies. And my morning consists of juice and smoothie. And I make a juice, a veggie juice. I pour it in my Vitamix and I add an avocado and blend that up. And that's my smoothie. And I sprinkle some pumpkin seeds or whatever I've got on hand on top. And that makes a great breakfast for me. And it's just so full of life. There are people who love their smoothies. One thing I will say about most of the recipes that people use for their smoothies have a lot of fruit and not a lot of vegetables in them because if you use those high fiber vegetables and they aren't juiced up in advance, it creates kind of a mushy consistency. You know, if you have beets and carrot and then you have some kale in there and celery, or maybe you've got a lot of fiber, insoluble fiber. So people tend to do more fruit in the smoothies and maybe some green leaves that blend well, and they are not getting as much of the vegetables. So that's why I love both, really.
Okay. How about most underrated vegetable?
Probably watercress. It got a 100 score from the CDC as the most nutritious vegetable, and we can hardly find it anywhere, and it's the best.
Oh,
But maybe the most underrated besides that would be celery. In my 101 nutrition class, I was told celery doesn't have very much nutrient in it. You know, it's got mostly that organic sodium and it makes a great appetizer vegetable. You can scoop up the dip. Now we know what a difference some research has made. Celery has apigenin and luteolin, especially in the leaves, that fight angiogenesis with cancer. Celery is a big cancer fighter. It also has been shown to lower blood pressure, to lower cholesterol, and to lower blood sugar. All studies linking the humble little celery to a powerhouse of nutrition.
oh, all right. How about coffee or green juice?
Oh my goodness. Green juice, by
Okay.
far, energizing.
All right. How about biggest nutrition myth today?
It's the one I came to address today that seed oils are heart healthy. It is still proclaimed all over because there's a turf war going on. It's projected to be a $600 billion business by 2031. Are they going to let go of that turf easily? No. So it is a big turf war going on, but it is one of the worst things and billed as one of the best.
Okay, good to hear. And we'll keep Mr. Monsanto, I'll say, just out of the picture for right now, but I get what you're saying completely. How about one food everyone should eat more of?
Oh, broccoli. It is a great cruciferous vegetable. It is one of the highest in fiber, and it's rich in phytonutrients like sulforaphane, which are big cancer fighters. There's many others.
Fantastic. I love it. And I love broccoli. How about detox programs? Misunderstood or overused?
Misunderstood and not used enough. Everybody should do a detox program at least once a year. It's like, cleaning out that car, that oil filter in the oil.
Okay. If you could only recommend one healthy habit, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. I would probably start with de-stressing. And I never used to say that, but my husband, being a
Oh,
psychotherapist, used to always say it's stress that's killing people. And I'd say, no, it's nutrition. But I have to kind of go his direction. I think we've got to learn to de-stress. People are so stressed out today, and that causes them to eat bad food and cause all of these stress chemicals like cortisol rolling around through their system, which is very damaging. So we have to learn how to take a break and a breath, right? And de-stress.
wow. Well, then I think I know the answer to this next one because I believe you just answered it. The most important factor for longevity: nutrition, exercise, sleep, or stress management?
Whoa! If I could say all of the above and put them all together, but but I have to pick one, and I would say stress management.
Okay. And how about one word that defines true health?
Joy.
I love it. Oh my gosh, Sherry, this has been so wonderful. You're such a you really have this positive cloud that floats above your head, and I really appreciate that. I would love to give you an opportunity here to tell us a little bit more about your company, services, website, books, and so on. How can people follow you, learn more?
You've got to get my book, The Truth About Seed Oils. My landing page is that name, thetruthaboutseedoils.com. It's got so much information in the oils really that help your body, like black seed oil for your lungs and flaxseed for your skin and your brain, and on it goes. We need to know what these oils do for us, the good ones. But come to also my other website, Juice Lady Info, info.com, and you can see all the things that I have, the free gifts, and sign up for different programs. I've got a juice fast program coming up and a 30-day detox. And you can go to my landing page and get the free gifts and the Seed Oil Scout app free trial, where it'll help you pick restaurants in your area that are seed oil free. It'll have a little map, little green bubbles, and it will also have a scanner where you can just put it on the barcode of any product you want to buy, and it'll tell you if there's seed oils in there and any other nasty stuff in there that you really don't want. So get the free gifts, get all the free goodies from my website. Follow me on Instagram. I've always got stuff coming out every single day, and I'm at Juice Lady Cherie, Cherie. And I've got a retreat coming up next January, moving to a higher level of wellness, joy, and prosperity. And it's with my husband and I, and we want to see you change your life.
Oh, fabulous. Well, Sherry, this has been a treat. I really can't thank you enough for coming on.
Thank you so much. It's been a treat for me. I really appreciate your invitation.
And that's another one to put in the vault so you can listen to it at another time. I want to thank Sherry for coming on. Be sure to check out the description below the podcast for links on her books and her services and a whole bunch more. Remember, we've got the Perform Better Summits coming up in Chicago, Long Beach, and Providence, Rhode Island. You can go to performbetter.com to register today. While you're registering, you want to get into a fever of that. Make sure you register for the NSCA's National Conference. That's July 8th to the 11th in New Orleans. And be sure to stop by my website, check out the courses we have, podcast archives, and more. Until next week, we're going to hear one more time for our valued sponsors, and have yourself a great week. Remember to check out metabolicelite.co. Check out all the products they have on their website. Synapsin Pro is something I've been using to help stay focused without having to over-caffeinate myself. It keeps me in the zone so I can just really hone in on the things I need to achieve without feeling like, man, I gotta reach for an energy drink every 5 minutes. Metabolicelite.co. And don't forget, Kinetic IQ. They've got markerless motion capture for morons like me. I can use their product with my iPhone or my iPad. I can look at posture analysis, movement analysis of any exercise, gait analysis. It gives me everything I could possibly want when tracking people's movements. So, check out kinetikiq.com.